Daniel Penny, the former Marine charged in the chokehold death of Jordan Neely on a New York City subway last year, was found not guilty of criminally negligent homicide by a Manhattan jury on Monday. This comes after a judge dismissed a more serious second-degree manslaughter charge last week after the jury could not come to a verdict on the count they were hung. Gloria Pazmino, tell us the latest.
Well, we are getting a live reaction right from inside that courtroom. My colleague Lauren Del Valle has been sitting there as the verdict was read. Not guilty. Visible smiles from Daniel Penny, who has just been acquitted on that second charge, the criminally negligent homicide. At the same time, the father of Jordan Neely, the victim in this case, escorted out of the room after he had an outburst with an expletive inside that courtroom as the verdict was being read. Court officers stepping in to escort Mr. Zachary Carter out of the room. Andrew Zachary, as his name I should say. We are also hearing audible reaction directly in the park behind me. Protesters have been here all morning. And they are now starting to chant loudly in response to this verdict. Today, for the first time in the past 6 weeks since we've been here, Daniel Penny also had some supporters in this crowd, but now we are hearing the chanting. In fact, it was something that his defense attorney tried to declare, ask for a mistrial on this morning because of the presence of loud supporters, which he believed could be heard by the jury inside the courtroom as they were deliberating. They are chanting, "No justice, no peace," which can be heard from inside that courtroom, according to my colleague Lauren Del Valle. So for now, 6 weeks after the fact, Daniel Penny acquitted on the second charge, criminally negligent homicide. Days after this jury initially told this judge that they were hung on the top charge, the manslaughter and the second-degree charge, the most serious of the two. The DA moved to dismiss that charge after the jury said they couldn't come to an agreement, and after the judge agreed to dismiss the charge, he instructed the jury to go back into the deliberation room this morning and continue to deliberate. And now, just about an hour and a half after they started deliberating for the day, we are hearing back that verdict. Daniel Penny not guilty of the criminally negligent homicide charge, nearly a year after he placed Jordan Neely, a homeless street artist, in a fatal chokehold in a New York City subway.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say it's worth just reemphasizing the fact that this was a hung jury on the most serious charge, the second-degree manslaughter, and that was dismissed last week. And the jury of 12 coming out today and acquitting him of the lesser charge of criminally negligent homicide. Have we heard from Daniel Penny's team?
Well, one thing I can tell you is that, you mentioned the jury. This is a jury made up of Manhattanites. I sat here watching jury selection before the trial was getting started, and I watched just how carefully every juror was being questioned and picked out. These are people who live here in Manhattan. They ride the subway nearly every day. Many of them talked about the fact that they had witnessed outbursts on the subway. Some said that they at times felt threatened by those outbursts, but others said that they weren't. They were also asked about their experiences with mental illness and homelessness. And what I think all of that encapsulates and really just paints a picture about the state of New York City and many of the issues that the city is grappling with. Mentally ill people, homelessness, public safety, and the perception of public safety, especially in the city subways. This was something that was really happening a lot at the time of the incident, and people continue to be concerned about. We are seeing that play out here by this jury.
All right, Gloria, thank you so much. I want to go to Joey Jackson now for some legal analysis. Joey, are you surprised by this? What's your reaction?
Yeah, Pamela, I'm not surprised by it. Certainly, we saw just last week that they were hung up on the reckless charge. That was the manslaughter charge that carried the 15 years. And I think that there were concerns as to why they were hung up. I think when you look at this, what does it tell us? First of all, we have to look at what criminally negligent homicide means. It means that the jury would conclude that he was negligent. That is, that he failed to perceive the risk that his activities could cause the death of Jordan Neely. However, I think that there are two issues that you look at that are critical. Number one, was it self-defense? Certainly, that's what the defense argued, that he, that is Jordan Neely, represented an immediate threat, and as a result of representing that immediate threat of death or serious physical injury, that restraining him in the way that he did was reasonable and appropriate. And so that was the one issue. I think the second issue was the dealing with causation. What does causation mean? It means that the prosecution had to establish that he caused, that is the defendant in this case, Mr. Perry, the death of Jordan Neely. And there was really dispute on the medical evidence. On the one hand, you had the prosecutor's medical examiner saying, in fact, it was the chokehold that caused it. On the other hand, you had the defense saying a number of things. Number one, that there wasn't sufficient pressure applied such that it could be the chokehold. Number two, that schizophrenia diagnosis, that the issue with the synthetic marijuana, et cetera, caused it. So I think there were plenty of issues for the jury to conclude that just beyond a reasonable doubt, either A, it was self-defense, and B, that he wasn't the cause. So those were two good reasons as to why they could acquit, and that's exactly what they did.